So, guys, welcome back to another episode of Lost. We are doing episode 19, Deus Ex Machina, as they would say. And I have, as always, Dave with me. I am filling in for Ben as for now. And Dave, what you got? Where are you? How you feeling tonight, sir?
Do you want to try that again? Not saying you're filling in for
I
Ben for now.
I know, and I realized it as I was saying it, and I was just like, God damn it, I'm in the middle of it now. I know. Yes, no. Sorry, guys. I'm
uh,
filling in for the head geek Ben.
but it is. But I am always excited to be here and talking about Lost, and even more so, I am excited to talk about one of the best episodes of season one, and potentially, like, it's an all timer with, I would argue, the best ending to any Lost episode.
That's fair. Yeah, no, that's not a bad call. It's not a bad call. I like it. So, guys, please like and subscribe to the channel. We are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, guys. So please join our journey to 1,000 subscribers. Please hit that like and subscribe button for us. But yeah, let's jump right into this, and we're going to start off with Sawyer. I think. What do you think?
Yeah, let's. This is a very serious episode. Let's start out with one of my favorite B plots in all of Lost. You know, there's the Hurley builds a golf course, and then there's
Yeah,
Sawyer needs glasses.
yes, of course. Yeah, and of course, starting with this is perfect because like you said, there's just so much in this episode that's very dark, and it'll be nice to start off with this fun subplot. It's hilarious because Jack gets to really jab at Sawyer a lot in this, and I love that he gets to do that a little bit. So because usually Sawyer gets the best of him verbally.
And Sawyer's got a lot of great jokes in this episode. From I'm sorry, my insurance ran out, and Jack just walks away, being like, "Huh,
Yeah,
insurance ran out." Or maybe the greatest bit of physical comedy from Josh Holloway ever is when Jack and Sawyer are talking about it's not a tumor, is it? It's like, and Jack tells him, tumors can bring on phantom smells. Have you been smelling anything like that? And Sawyer like kind of blusters up and is like, no, no, no. And then when Jack walks away, the scene lingers on Sawyer for a minute, and Sawyer's just like, he's just sniffing around to see.
I didn't
It's like,
notice that. That's
do I have
awesome.
phantom smells? One
That's
of
awesome.
some great physical comedy there from Josh Holloway.
That is great. I didn't notice that. That's funny.
Yeah, no, I really love this episode because it does something. Sawyer is the guy who, when you really need to turn things on its head or just have a light, fun episode, a lot of the times they're just like, let's let someone just dig on Sawyer because he's such a jerk for most of the series. Like there'll be an episode in season 2 where Hurley is just giving Sawyer the business.
Oh, I
Or
know that episode. Yes.
yeah. Or I think it's season 3 where there's the ping pong table. There's the table tennis tournament.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So, and those are a lot of the more fun, like, hangout episodes where it's just like giving Sawyer business. And it starts here. But this subplot of Sawyer needing glasses actually comes from a fan complaining on a message board.
Okay.
Do you know the story around why Sawyer needed to have glasses?
I no, I do not.
So, episode 1, Sawyer is introduced in the wild, but his big like moment is he kills the polar bear. Dead eye, one shot right in the head. Super easy, kills it no problem. The very next episode, he shoots the marshal and misses his heart, leading to Jack need to euthanize him, the marshal. So a fan
Yeah.
got on the message boards and was like, if Sawyer's so good with a gun that he was able to kill a polar bear, why wasn't he able to kill the marshal properly and stuff? And Carlton Cuse, whose favorite character to write for is Sawyer, got into this episode and was like, and he saw that quote and was like, It's because he's farsighted. He needs glasses.
Oh my god.
The marshal was too close to him. That's why he
really,
missed.
that's really what happened.
Yeah.
It's because of one fan, one comment.
I think it was like one of those. It wasn't. I don't know if Reddit was a thing. Like Reddit was a thing in 2005.
So it was a lot of people kind of saying
It was one. It was like a quote that whether it was on like one of the Lost Lives fandoms or UFO, Dark UFO, wherever it was, got like a lot of traction. And this was at the time where Lost was the biggest thing since Jesus. So.
Oh yeah.
So like yeah, someone came out and Carlton Cuse was like, my favorite character is Sawyer. I saw that comment, and you know what? We're addressing it.
That's so funny, man. That's one of the biggest things I've always wanted to know about Hollywood is like when we get something from somebody, either a director or whatever, a writer, just put something in there that's just like a direct jab at people that, either are talking crap or whatever. Like I would love to know those stories, like some of them.
There's so many.
Oh yeah, there's got to be.
Especially once we get into season 2, there's a lot of moments that are just once the writers really get a handle on who Hurley is, Hurley becomes a conduit for a lot of that stuff. Where when Desmond comes back, he's like, "Oh, you know what this means, right? We were dead the whole time. Oh my god!" And doing stuff like that, where they're just poking fun at the fan base.
Oh wow! Okay.
But
so is that where that theory comes from? That because and again, I didn't really talk about this much before, but the few people that I did talk Lost about with, always was that was purgatory. Like that's always the story that I got, and I was like, that I don't know.
That really just
what I went with.
People just that was one of the early theories about Lost, right? I think Saeed is the first person to say it, where he's like, "Isn't it crazy that like so many of us survived this plane crash, and most of us mostly just with superficial injuries, like no one's seriously hurt." So everyone was like, "Oh, well, because they did die in the crash, and they're in purgatory." And then the reason the island is so weird is that was like them being tested.
Right.
That's where that all came from. And that's when, the writers see it and they are like, we're going to address that.
That's funny, man. That's awesome though. Like I said, I've always wondered about that, and just I know they do it, but just what it is, like what the jokes. I just love to know some of them. That's hilarious.
A couple other great moments.
I would be that guy where if somebody was like, "Oh, I can't believe they casted this person," I would like literally put that in like every other scene. Like, I can't believe I'm in this movie. My first would just be breaking the fourth wall the whole time.
It's like it's Hurley. Hurley's like, "Oh my!" I think at some point, people start referring to Charlie as a hobbit. And that's a direct reference to people being like, well, they would have seen Lord of the Rings. Like, it's out now.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Even though, like, I don't know what Lost was under so much extra like scrutiny with that.
Was it out before they crashed?
Yeah, because they crashed. They crashed in 2004, and I think all the movies come out before that.
I think so. I think you're right. Yeah.
It's been I used to compete in like geekdom trivia and stuff, and it's been a while, so I don't need to know that stuff still.
I think the Return of the King was 2003. I think that's
right. So like all of them are out, and they're like, no one's gonna mention that he looks a lot like Merry or Pippin. I don't remember which.
That's great.
So someone eventually starts referring to Charlie as a hobbit, and just stuff like that.
It's so weird because I would always get them mixed up when they weren't next to each other. When they're next to each other, I can easily tell them apart. But when they weren't, I couldn't. I was always like,
"That's just because you're a hobbit racist."
Well, obviously, they all look alike. Who can tell Frodo apart? I mean, come
on. A couple other great things from the Sawyer Needs Glasses thing is there's a great line between him and Kate where Michael, where they're working on the raft and Sawyer almost passes out, I think. And then Kate brings him to Jack. And she's like, all right, let's go see Jack. And I always love the line delivery from Sawyer of, do I get a lollipop?
I remember saying that, man. That is a good line.
He's got some real killer lines.
Oh,
and then
dude, Sawyer's
obviously...
one of the funniest people in the show, for sure.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah.
And then obviously the whole exchange of, have you ever had sex with a prostitute? What's that got to do with anything? I'll take that as a yes.
Oh, man.
Have you ever contracted a sexually transmitted disease?
Yeah.
Yes.
When he is talking about, when he tells him what he has, when he's optic hyper, whatever it is, and he's like, is it serious? Like, just
oh my God.
Yeah. But Jack giving him shit is the best to me.
Yeah. And I love he immediately drops the facade to Kate, where Kate's like, after Sawyer bursts off after Jack asks when the last outbreak of his STD was, Kate's like, you didn't have to do that to him. And Jack just, without missing a beat, he needs glasses. It's like I like to believe that Jack knew that from like immediately from the first conversation he had with him, where he's like, before the tumors even got brought into it, he's like, oh, Sawyer's reading a lot. He's reading A Wrinkle in Time this week, which I think was fun.
That's fun. That is cool.
Yeah, it's always fun to track what books Sawyer's reading.
Doesn't he read like a romance novel at one point?
I don't have the list in front of me. At one point,
I got you.
At one point, I would have known every book Sawyer reads. I do not know that off the top of my head. I know he reads A Wrinkle in Time, and I know during whatever the case may be, he's reading Watership Down, because Kate asks him, what's it about? What you're reading, he says, you'd like it. It's about bunnies.
That's funny. That's hilarious.
Yeah, but it's really great.
No, he's one of the best one-liners in this show, man. One of the best one-liners in this show, for sure.
Yeah. And
he's got one of the best deliveries, too. He really does have a really great delivery.
He really does. He's got...
Especially as Sawyer. Man. He's really got that character down.
Sawyer's one of those guys who... Josh Holloway is so charismatic and good in this role, but then Sawyer sucks so hard in so many moments.
Yeah.
It's kind of similar to another character we'll get to a little bit later.
Yes, absolutely.
He sucks so much, but ever since Confidence Man, his first episode, you get why, and you're like, it's really cool until you think about it for 5 seconds, and then you're like, oh no, this is actually really sad.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, you're still that little boy trapped under the bed.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. No, definitely, man. I love, you know what else I love is the short little montage of him putting the glasses together, of sleeping glasses together.
Yes,
I like that little scene. It's just so fun to just watch him just kind of go on, because he's like the fix-it guy. That's what he is. He's the tech guy. So
I was about to say my last note on the Sawyer needs glasses storyline. The last line is, shout out to my man Saeed Jarrah making glasses out of nowhere.
Dude, he's just like, he just knows exactly what to do. He just got it down.
No, I'd love to know where he learned that skill.
I mean, look, he tortured people. I mean, I don't think burning plastic and melting it together is too hard for him.
Yeah, but you think he was, while he was torturing, he was also asking, now how's your eyesight?
Well,
now I'm going to say A or B. Where were the drugs? A or B? Tell me where the insurgents are.
That's great.
I don't know if I should. That's funny. But yeah, shout out to my man Saeed Jarrah, MVP of 815. Again,
Yeah,
I bring it up every time. Every time I talk about Saeed, I bring it up. A crime that they don't make a pop for him. They make Jacob and the Man in Black, but they don't make a Saeed or a Desmond. There's two different locks.
Yeah, that's kind of dumb. They make everything. Pop makes every character of everything. So how do they not have that?
But not Saeed.
That's weird.
They make Pop makes up. I can't get into a Funko rant right now, but
they're Iraqi war racists.
They make things. They make pops for things that aren't even in the movies.
Yeah.
No, you know what? Sir, I need to get this out on a forum of some kind. Then we'll get back to Lost. Okay. I remember when Infinity War was coming out. Me and my buddy Nick, we were doing a big old marathon where we were watching all the Marvel movies leading right into Infinity War the next day. It was going to be a great time. We were both like, all right, no spoilers. It had been out for a week already, and because of work, we just hadn't got to it opening weekend. And we're like, all right, Friday, we are going, okay? No ifs, ands, or buts. We have our tickets booked. We're all good. We both took 2 days off of work to do our Marvel marathon. It was a great time to be young again. Yeah. And have that kind of be able to just do that. And we're like, no spoilers. I open up Instagram for 5 seconds.
Yep.
And there's a pop of the Hulk busting out of the Hulkbuster armor. And I'm like, God damn it. And I throw my phone against the wall, leaving an imprint that is still in my buddy's house to this day. And I'm like, I just had like what's going to be like the moment of the movie spoiled for me. So I went into Infinity War, and the entire time, the moment I saw Mark Ruffalo get into the Hulkbuster suit, I crossed my arms, got really low in my chair, and I'm like, well, he's just going to pop out as the Hulk at the end. I'm Dave, I'm so smart. And then I just could not enjoy Infinity War, the like final like 45 minutes of it, because I'm like, any minute the Hulk's going to pop out. And then it never happened. And my buddy turned to me and was like, that was awesome. And I turned to him and said, but the Hulk didn't even show up. And then obviously, you know.
Dude, that was one of the funniest storylines, though, that he would not come out. That was so great. I love
really great.
Yeah. That sucks, though. That sucks.
Yeah. But, you know, we live and we learn.
Yeah.
Speaking of things coming out, John Locke's kidney.
Go there, huh? That's where you go.
I don't know, man. I'm trying. I said I'm not going to. Yeah. Where do you want to start with this?
I don't want to make it a downer, but it's a mess. It's a messed
Don,
up.
I got some bad news for you. We got like 4 weeks of bad news bears.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know. No, I know. Yeah. But it's okay. Because John Locke is a stronger... Oh, no, he's not. Darn
it. So where do you want to start? Do you want to start with Boone and Locke in the jungle, or the worst attempt to make an actor look young?
Yeah, no, he took his kidney to the black market willingly. That's what happened.
Willingly.
So let's talk about that storyline, because it is a crazy messed up storyline. Yeah.
All right, I have a fun bit for the flashback storyline. Should I save that for later, or do you want to open with that?
No, let's open with it. Let's have some fun. Yeah.
Can we talk about John Locke's hair in the flashback? Are they trying to convince us that this man's like 32? I'm sorry, that's...
Yeah. No,
that's a 55-year-old man.
Yeah, it's not great looking. I will admit. I will give you that. It's not great looking.
And they try to put his hair down like over his eyes, and they're like,
yes.
Oh yeah, he's super young. He's oh god, I need a haircut.
But you can tell, even with the hair, he looks bald, but just with like hair kind of spat, like just thrown on top of it.
Looks like
it doesn't look great.
It looks like they ran out of budget and went to a high school theater and were like, what do you have for the old people in your plays? What do you have to make teenagers look old? And they're like, well, the art department isn't quite done with this wig yet. And they were like, we'll take it.
We'll
What?
take it, right? Exactly.
Like
That's
if I was Emily Locke and I walked up to that man and I was like, this is the man that I'm going to try to convince to give a kidney to Anthony Cooper. And I saw him, I'd be like, oh, well, this can't be my son. This is a 55-year-old man. I believe
they look almost the same age. He doesn't look
Yeah.
more than like 10 years older than him.
I believe this happens in the mid 80s.
Oh, really? Okay.
I believe it's either mid 80s or early 90s. I don't quite remember.
I was thinking like 90s, yeah. So okay.
Because him and Helen are together for a while. So I don't have the exact dates. I should have looked this up. But I believe the Emily Locke stuff happens in like 88 or 9, like somewhere in there. Because this is you know what? This is also like pre-Pop Farm. Like he hasn't gone to the Pop Farm with
sure.
Goku yet. Which
oh my god!
my
Don't
least
ever
favorite
bring that
character.
movie up again. Oh my god, that is the most abomination of a movie ever.
When we get to season 3, I'm gonna bring it up.
How do you get a white guy to play Goku? Oh, just don't do that.
Well, we're just reimagining it for a new era. Anyway,
Sure.
but yeah, I think this is like mid to late 80s. I would say
Okay.
91 at the very latest.
Okay, gotcha.
Because I know his accident happens in 99. So we can kind of work backwards from that.
Gotcha. Okay.
well,
So when
yeah.
does everything happen with was it Helen? Is that her name? Helen?
That's like shout out to 1995 greatest year of all time. I think that's in like 95 because
Okay.
he's in a wheelchair for 4 years. So that's like 99 to 2003 into 2004.
Gotcha. Okay.
And and Helen has left him for a couple of years by the time he is calling the sex phone worker in Walkabout.
Right.
So, well, I guess that actually happens post. Either way, I think the Helen stuff happens like mid 90s.
Gotcha.
But they are trying to tell us that John Locke is in this scene 15 years younger than he is currently. And I'm like, you're not fooling anyone, guy.
No.
And like Lost will get into some crazy hair. Like Matthew Fox is going to have some crazy wigs to play younger Jack. But this is by far the craziest wig I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's not great. I do like every time I see him in that wig, I'm just like, this is so bad looking. It does not look good.
My last fun thing to bring up about this,
Okay.
the actors, Susie Kurtz, who plays Emily Locke, obviously, we all know Susie Kurtz, and Kevin Taihe, who plays Anthony Cooper, are in actuality only 8 years older than John Locke.
Yeah, they look about 10 years older. Yeah,
They look.
exactly.
Anthony Cooper ages like a fine wine. Like he looks the exact same
great.
age now as the day he dies. That's that new kidney life.
Exactly.
John Locke.
This is one of the most messed up manipulations too. Using his mom against him. Oh man, it's a messed up way that he does this.
So just starting with his mom comes to him, or he doesn't know it's his mother, but this woman comes to him.
Yeah.
And tries to talk to him, and then she runs away just to come back immediately, which is already weird to me.
Yeah.
And then she says, after he gets hit by a car, the same car that hit Michael in his episode, by the way.
Oh really?
Yeah, I think I brought this up in special, or it might have. It was in the. It might have been in that long list of notes that we didn't quite get to. But this is the same car that hit Michael. It will hit Locke here. In Born to Run, it will be responsible for the car crash that leads to Tom, Kate's friend, with that dumbass plane.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
in
You know
season,
it's like a plane, man.
I
You
hate
know
that
it's
little plane so much. We're like 2 episodes away from when I opened up this episode and I was like, oh, we're so close to Born to Run. I hate it.
Oh, I
But
can't wait for that episode.
but
Actually,
then it will take 3 seasons off, and it will appear again in season 4 where Hurley is doing the like a chase downtown to get away from the cops in the flash forward where he's like, I'm a member of the Oceanic Six, blah 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 blah. The car that makes him spin out and eventually get arrested is this car.
so is it Jacob?
I've always liked to believe that it's Jacob. That's never been confirmed. Like, it seems to just be a car they have access to. But
Right,
I like
right.
to think it's Jacob.
Yeah, that sounds exactly like what Jacob would do.
Yeah. But so after John Locke my mic just fell down.
Whoa.
So after John Locke gets hit by that car, his mom comes over and then takes him out for lunch.
Yep.
And it's like, I'm your mother, and what a twist, you were immaculately conceived. What were your thoughts on hearing that John even did you buy it for a moment?
No way. But again, I didn't know. I wouldn't have known only because of just how weird the show has been so far. So when I first saw it, I may have bought it for a minute. I probably, yeah, I might have. I might have. I honestly, I don't remember how how I reacted the first time. But yeah, no, it's so obvious well, rewatching it. But yeah, no, you can't believe her. She's weird, man. She's so crazy, and she is definitely crazy. You can tell she's crazy.
This was another one of those moments that I paused and walked to my sister upstairs, and I said, if John Locke is immaculately conceived, I'm not watching this show anymore. I was just like, that was my line.
I get no, yeah. I just it probably would have made sense to me though to some level at that point. First seeing it, first time seeing it, I probably would have been like, or at least questioning it. Like, are you serious? Like, that's what they're doing? He's Jesus.
I would have. It's such a crazy job, and they go from commercial break, and then they go to like some trippy stuff with Boone in the forest. So I was like, are we just not addressing this?
Right? Yeah, right. Are we just never going to talk about it?
Anyway, okay, I think I fixed my mic. Luckily, though, the next time we see a flashback, there is a private investigator who is saying, yeah, no, you have a mother and you have a father.
Yeah.
Which, this is some behind the scenes stuff. For seasons, when they thought when they were under the impression they were still doing flashbacks, or they were going to continue to do flashbacks for all of Lost, there were plans to have Emily Locke be reinstituted to Santa Rosa, which we hear that she has already been in at this point.
Yeah.
So that her and Hurley would have scenes together.
Huh. I just wonder what that would have been, would have done with that. How that would have tied back in. Would that have been sort of like how, Sawyer and Christian have interactions?
Yeah, I think it would just be like... I think less than that, actually. I think it's more akin to like Sawyer knocking a coffee cup off a guy's desk who's talking to Boone in Hearts and Minds. Where it would more be like maybe in Dave, which is I think the only time we actually get a flashback in Santa Rosa for Hurley is Dave.
Yeah.
And obviously he'll go back there in season 4 and blah, 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 blah. Or, wait, I'm so sorry. I got some facts mixed up. There were plans to have Emily Locke in the flash forward timeline So after Hurley's got off the island and then gone back to Santa Rosa, Emily Locke would be there. But then they were like,
Gotcha.
that's
Okay.
far too confusing.
Yeah. Again, I just don't know what they would. Yeah, what that would be about. Yeah.
I don't know.
Connected. Yeah, because she's not. I mean, she's only a part of this episode, really, right? This is the only time we see her. Is this episode?
Yeah. The only time we see Emily Locke as played by Susie Kurtz is this episode. We get teenaged Emily Locke in an episode, Cabin Fever, a episode 3 or a season 3 episode, where we get like through John Locke's life, you know, where you see Richard Alpert. He was there when he was born, and then he was there. It's like, oh, which one of these things already belongs to you? Actually, you're not special, John. F off.
I do remember that now. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we will see Emily Locke again, but we'll never see Susie Kurtz again.
Right. Okay. Right. Yeah. I don't know how that would connect then. Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. But then we will jump right on into the main meat of this. Him meeting his dad, and Anthony Cooper immediately sells me on him being a good guy, despite a few episodes ago, Locke telling Walt asking, "Do you have a dad?" Everyone's got a dad. Is your dad cool? No, he is not. Yeah. And with one line, he completely disarmed me. And I'm like, this guy's cool. I think this is all going to work out. When John tells him, yeah, I met my mother. She said I was immaculately conceived. And he just takes the drink and says, well, I guess that makes me God. And I'm like, you know what? I like you.
Oh, he's great in this episode. He is great in this episode. Mm-hmm. I will give him that. For as much of a asshole as he is great in this episode. He plays it very well, for sure.
He plays it so well.
What's his name again? The actor?
Kevin Tye.
Kevin Tye, yeah.
I have never seen this man in anything else.
Oh, really? And I've seen him in a few things. Like little parts. Very little parts.
Yeah, I guess I probably have seen him in other things, but I'm terrible for saying when I watch Ant-Man and I see Evangeline Lilly, I'm like, that's Kate from Lost. So if ever I've seen him and stuff, I probably like, that's Locke's dad.
Yeah. I gotcha.
It's part of why I can't watch Modern Family. I'm like, that's Jack's ex-wife.
It is. Yeah, you're right. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But yeah, Kevin Tye is fantastic in every scene he's in. From talking to him about I tried to have a family a couple times, never took. But what about you? You wanna go hunting with me? And then when they're out hunting, I think it's the first time you see him out hunting, and he slips up and calls him son, or slips up. Anthony Cooper don't slip.
Yeah.
So good, and it's not until the rug pull at the very end that you understand what's happening, and you're like, these guys are so great. Oh wow, John Locke, finally something good is going to happen in John Locke's life.
Yeah. No, when they show the empty bed, man, I'm just like, no, that is not happening right now.
See,
for sure.
For me, when they show the empty bed, I immediately went to the first time, oh, he died in the transplant. Like, there were complications. Oh, and then when it's not till the nurse, when Locke asks the nurse, who, by the way, is the same nurse, we see that nurse a bunch in Jack flashbacks.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because they're at St. Vincent's. Not St. Vincent's. Yeah? Is that where? St. Vincent's. That's where Jack works, right?
I do not.
No, it wouldn't be St. Vincent's. That's the name of the dog. We named the dog Indiana. But whatever, wherever it's at Jack's hospital
Gotcha.
that
Okay.
this happens. Even though Jack would be like 15 at the time, Christian Shepherd probably works there though. It's not till that nurse says, "Oh, I didn't know he was your father," that I'm like, "Oh no, oh no."
Now I was getting hints of it for sure. I was getting hints of it for sure, but I didn't know what it was going. I didn't know that what he was doing. But I kind of figured it once they got to the hospital. I'm like, when he says I'll see you on the other side or something like that. I was like, this doesn't feel right.
See, for me, it just never crossed. Like I got conned, where when Locke shows
Right.
up early, I don't think he showed up early. I think Anthony Cooper told him to show up at this time, and that was like, that's when my dialysis is.
Yeah, of course.
When he shows up early, I'm like, oh no. And then he talks later about like, I'm on the transplant list, but it's a long list, and I'm an old man, John. It's like, oh. And it never crossed my mind that he would be trying to steal a kidney, because who steals a kidney? Who does
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it
yeah.
just never crossed my mind
The
until
one thing that did surprise me was that the mom was involved. When she shows up at the hospital, I was like, oh, and then she says the line, "He made me do it. He gave me money. He was always good like that."
which it's so crazy because you got to remember, and we'll talk about this way later. But he was obviously not good to her. She was mentally unwell.
Yeah.
She was 15 and he was like 30 when they had Locke. So like that's a whole other can of worms
Right.
to unpack. And I guess it
Right,
was the
right.
50s, but whatever,
Still not cool.
Still not cool, I'm here to say date people your own age, people.
Yes. Yes.
But like, so when he's like, she says he was always good like that. It's like, no, he's not. He's not good like this. Anthony Cooper, bad man.
Well, to her, he gave her money. That's all she cared about. Was the
I
money.
guess.
Yeah.
Now, we're still talking about Anthony Cooper and John. Obviously, we will see Anthony Cooper over and over and over again. We'll see him so many more times, and every time he shows up, what a treat! What a great sprinkle on an episode. That's just like this episode would have been a 9 out of 10. Oh, we're gonna throw in a little Anthony Cooper, 10 out of 10.
There you go. That's all you need.
Is he the worst dad in all of Lost?
Yes and no. Him and Christian are pretty darn close.
Oh wow, Christian was. I wasn't even thinking Christian as the other one.
I think
but
Christian's pretty darn close, only because of the Sawyer conversation. How
he
he's like,
didn't know that Sawyer was gonna kill a guy.
No. Oh, no. That's not what I'm talking about. How he can't apologize to Jack and be like, "You're right, and I love you." Like the fact that he can't be the dad that he should be in that moment. I think that's worse, or not worse, but it's pretty damn bad, especially after he just like made him feel like he hated him.
Yeah,
That's fucked up to do to your own child. That's a messed up thing to do.
that's
to your
really
own
fucked
kid.
up.
But again, stealing your kid's kidney is not like, I'm not saying that that's not worse. That's definitely worse.
Is stealing the kidney the worst thing that he will do to him? That Anthony Cooper will do to John Locke? And he will just like throw down the thing. He will fake his own death and then make John collect money for him, which will end up ruining his relationship with Helen.
Yep.
He will throw John Locke out of a window, paralyzing him. Should have killed him if Jacob wasn't Johnny on the spot with a little touchy touch. And then you know what? I'll just throw in also got Sawyer's family killed. Is stealing the kidney the worst thing that's happened though? Because it's so messed up.
No. Yeah, probably not. I think I would say there's another one is probably Son's father. Son's father's definitely up there.
Mr. Fake, yeah.
he's definitely up there as a horrible, horrible father.
I was gonna say my other one was Charles Whitmore. Bad dad, Charles Whitmore.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because I mean,
well,
he's the orchestrator of all this crap, and he puts everybody through this. I mean,
yeah.
not obviously the main orchestrator, but he's the one that works for Jacob on the mainland, right? That's him.
Well, I don't know whether we can get into that when Charles Whitmore shows up, how much he's involved, but like I don't know.
It's always felt that was like his guy he went to on the mainland, like that was his guy off the island.
Maybe I don't know. It's weird.
Okay, well, maybe
We'll talk about that in
into
like
it too
season
much.
5.
Yeah,
I think we get into that.
for sure.
Oh, man, yeah, it's
Yeah, he's
so
pretty
messed
bad,
up. Yeah, I will say also my heart. One of the unsung heroes of this episode is Eddie the doorman, who, when John goes to visit his dad, he's like, "I'm his son. I'm his son."
Security guard.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
and then at the end, he's like, "Eddie, please let me in." And he's like, "You gotta move your car, John. I'm so sorry. You gotta go." And clearly Eddie doesn't want to do this, but he's making minimum. I like to think, he's making not minimum wage, but he's making something. He's got a couple kids at home that he's got to support. He needs this job. And John, he doesn't want to be involved in the criminal enterprises of one Anthony Cooper.
Nope. Yeah. Yeah, he's put in the worst position ever. Or what's he going to do? So, yeah, no, I agree with that completely.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on the flashback stuff before we get to the other tragedy that happens in this episode?
Right. Yeah. No. Again, it's going back through everything he's done to him. This probably isn't the worst thing, but damn, this sucks. Like this is such a horrible thing to happen to a person. And as much as I want to like Locke at some points, he makes it so hard to do it later. So let's get into the Boone stuff because here's where you just can't care about Locke at all.
So Boone and Locke, they just cannot get this thing open. And then
Locke,
Locke,
really think a piece of wood is going to. I mean, I know he builds like the Trevor, and it like comes, but it's still just a piece of bamboo. Like it's not like it's that serious. Like it's not breaking metal.
Why is it called a trebuchet? It's called a trebuchet because it's a trebuchet, Boone.
Yeah, that is a funny line. But I saw that and I was like, that's never gonna work.
No,
it is never gonna work.
I'm like, so you have spent weeks at this point because this episode takes place in between day 39 and day 41. Day 41 is going to be like the most.
So 3 days total.
It's like 2.5 days.
Gotcha.
Because the next week's episode is like all day 41, and day 41 will actually be the day.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Other than the day before the crash and the day of the crash, day 41 is the most returned to date in all of Lost, where we have so many times where whether it's through time travel shenanigans or other episodes taking place on this day or flashbacks to on island stuff, day 41 is like a day they always come back to.
Gotcha. Okay.
But that's mostly for next week's episode. But so day 39, a full season of Survivor has happened. This is when it starts. They found the hatch on day 19.
Oh, really? It was that early?
20? Yeah, Claire goes missing in the first 20 days.
Wow. Okay.
So they've spent 20 days out there excavating and digging out and trying to get into this thing, and a piece of bamboo with a small piece of metal. That's what we came up with, eh?
It's so dumb.
Because, what was the plan? They're going to break the glass and Boone's going to crawl in there?
Through it? Yeah, nobody's getting through that.
Did they build the crib for Aaron so that Aaron could go through the little glass when they broke it?
Just gonna lower him down.
How surprised would Desmond be
I
if just
around
little
his-
turnip head? That is, Disney owns
so great.
Lost. Disney owns Marvel. Let's get a what if Aaron went down the hatch. Animated. Most of those actors are not doing
I want
anything these days anyway. Evangeline
want
Lilly obviously is available. Get her there.
Yeah, right. And she's already owned by Disney,
Yeah.
so well, not owned, but you know what I mean.
Well, it's not untrue.
Well, that's fair.
This episode also, after the Trebuchet debacle, starts to set up a theme that will happen no less than 4 times throughout Lost history. Of John Locke can no longer walk, or is losing his ability to walk.
Yeah, right.
What was your read on why John was losing his ability to walk the first time through, or even now, to why do you think John suddenly can't walk in this episode?
I think it's because, or I know, but I think he was trying to get into the thing, and I again at this point I don't remember exactly on how deep this is going to go. Do you know what I mean? Like I wasn't sure exactly how real or how fake things were. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would have definitely been like, I don't know if this is just like something weird is happening or if this is just some kind of natural thing that's just happening to, something he hit a certain type of bush and it cut him open and had something that just kind of temporarily paralyzed. I don't know what I would have thought. I probably would have thought everything.
There was a paralyzing agent.
Down to the fact that he says, "Why are you punishing me? Like, why is the island punishing?" That's later, but
why did you do this to me?
At that point. Yeah.
Yeah,
because again, at this point, I don't think you can really get a good read on. I definitely wouldn't have had a good read on how crazy they were going to go with this show.
Oh no, we have no idea how time travel-y things are going to get, and we'll get into at the end of the show probably about the light and the hatch of it all, but.
Well, see, the other thing about when I watched it after it was over. I just binged it. So I did know a few things. Not much, but a few things going in. So
yeah.
It's like Game of Thrones. I watched Game of Thrones after Game of Thrones was out. I knew about the Red Wedding. I knew about, all that stuff because it was just so big. You couldn't not hear about it.
Yeah,
when it was on. So
yeah, and Lost was the biggest show in the world. Game of Thrones would kill to do the numbers that Lost did.
I agree.
But
literally, the reason I didn't watch Lost. This is a true story. I think I've told it before, but the reason I didn't watch Lost is because friends of mine at the time, literally every week or when it came out, they would all get together and watch it, and I wasn't watching it, so I didn't know what was going on. So that night of the week, I didn't have anybody to hang out with, and I was so mad at that show because of that. I wouldn't watch it because of that.
You were mad at the show and didn't watch the show, rather than just watching the show so you can hang out with your friends.
Yep, idiot.
That's a very mature. You know what?
Oh.
I respect it.
Oh, there's no maturity at that point. There's no maturity at that point.
Yeah. I remember when I first watched this thinking, this was my first instance of thinking, oh, they're all dead. Because
I was definitely thinking that.
I don't know if I've ever talked about this before, but I grew up in a really religious house and I went to Catholic school and stuff like that. So, and there's this idea in not only Catholicism, but in a bunch of other religions about the ideas of a crucible or a great hardship that you have to endure. Whether it's in life or to prove yourself in the afterlife to get to move on to heaven.
Oh, the best one is the Egyptian one, man. Have you ever heard the Egyptian one?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so great. Love it.
I went deep into theology in college, so
nice.
Got all into that stuff. Also because I loved God of War, and I was like, ooh, they're going to they'll definitely do Egypt next. Little did I know. all the Thor comics I had been reading would pay off a lot more than.
Right.
But this was my thought process was, okay, this is John Locke's Crucible. This is him being tested. It's like, we've given you this back. Now what are you going to do with it? And I spent the entire season believing that when Locke opened the hatch, he would die and move on to whatever afterlife was going on.
Oh, okay.
At the end of the season, I shared my thought with my sister, who promptly slapped me across the face. No joke. She actually did hit me. This is my,
That's awesome.
I'm very brave coming out now, decade plus, talking about my older sister hitting me in the face. And she said, that's stupid. They're not dead the whole time. Get that out of your stupid 14-year-old head. And I said, I'm sorry.
That's awesome.
I actually don't think I remember her specifically calling me 14 because I was pretty sure I was like 17 at the time. Or no, I was 14. Yeah. Because it was grade 9. Yeah. I was like, I'm so sorry. But yeah, that was my thought process. Especially then when later we get into like the trippy dreams of Bloody Boone being like, Teresa falls up the stairs, Teresa falls down the stairs. Oh, this house is clean.
So weird. Such a weird moment, but yeah.
What? Boone and trippy dreams will happen a lot. Where it's not only whether it's Boone having the trippy dream or Boone being in Locke's trippy dreams. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on Boone and trippy dreams? Or just the use of trippy dreams throughout Lost? Because this is like the first time that we're getting it that we don't have like a real reason for it. Because in the Boone episode, there was like the paste that we could say, okay, that was giving him the wacky visions of Shannon dying. But in this one, it's just Locke has a freaky dream.
Yeah. It made me think of The Ring.
Mm-hmm.
Was this around that time?
I don't know. When was The Ring?
That's what I mean. I'm just trying to think if they took, not took it, but, thought this became, just at that time was so big that they used that sort of idea for this trippy dream. Because it's really weird. And the flashes are it has that feel. It just has that Ring feel.
Yeah. So The Ring was 2002. And this came out in 2005. So
maybe.
I think
maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, their connection though is it's there, obviously. I mean, they have a connection, but Locke has weird dreams too, man. Locke has such weird dreams.
Yeah.
And he sees him. He knows what's gonna happen.
Yeah, because he sees the bloody Boone talking about Teresa falling up and down the stairs.
But I have a question actually about that.
Yeah.
Because he kind of flashes back and forth between Bloody Boone and regular Boone for a second. Do you think there's a possibility where Locke interprets that as he could live or die in this situation? That maybe he doesn't know what the outcome actually is, and that it could go either way, depending on what choices are made?
I don't think so. Because a couple episodes from now, Locke will be very emphatic about Boone was a sacrifice the island demanded.
That is true. Okay.
But I don't know if that's something that he thinks now, or if that's something that...
But there's things that happen between now. Right. Sorry.
Like, maybe that's just... So that's okay. Maybe that's just like a justification that he's giving himself later.
Oh, maybe. Or maybe at that point, he's just like, what, screw it. I'm just going to own it and move on. Like, I don't even care at this point. Because a lot of stuff happens between now and then, for sure. Where he could easily just be like, you know what? Yeah. Boone had to be sacked. Yeah, that's what you guys want to believe. So let's just go there. And you know what? Move on. Just move on from it. I can see that too.
Yeah.
He's such such a dick now at this point in his life. Like he's such a
He
grumpy
is.
old man.
This is also one of the instance of Locke feeling divine purpose. Because I don't think he kind of had it with the boar hunting, where he looked into the heart of the island and it was beautiful, blah, blah, blah. But this is, and we talked about this earlier, this is the first time Locke gets a vision and is like, I understand completely what I have to do. And he just totally fumbles the bag.
Everything goes wrong. Yeah. He's the worst at this. He really is the worst at this. Especially when he has other people's lives in his hands. He is the worst at this.
Locke,
he almost gets everybody killed with the dynamite later.
Yeah.
He almost kills everybody.
Locke's a great number 2. I think Locke's a great guy to bounce ideas off. Locke is not a guy.
Look, I want him as my general. I just don't want him as my leader.
Yeah. He
you
is.
Know what I mean?
If you have a plan and you need it executed, give it to John Locke. Do not tell John Locke, hey, freestyle on this one.
Right. This is what I need the outcome to be. You do it. No, don't do that.
Yeah. Don't give him any open-ended plans.
Right.
Do not tell John Locke, I'm down to do whatever this weekend, because you are stranded in the middle of the Nebraskan woods. Does Nebraska have woods? I don't know.
I think it's all woods, isn't it? Isn't that?
I don't know. I'm Canadian.
I think it's just woods. I think there's like 7 people that live there.
Oh wow, there's 5 more people than live in Canada.
No, that's always the running joke, though. Is that what is it? Iowa? I don't know. One of the weird states that like literally nobody lives in. That's the joke that everybody was talking about. Nobody lives there. It has the population of 0. There's like 500,000 people in the whole state.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'm not here to get into geography conversations with you.
God, no. It's a funny thing.
So we get our introduction to one of the major like plot locations in this episode, in the Beechcraft. We're going to come here a handful of times through the next 3 seasons, whether it's to be here or the thing that is right on top of, right underneath Locke's foot. I was watching this episode very closely, and they clearly don't know that the pearl is there yet.
Right.
Because Locke, when he is sitting on the ground yelling up at Boone, I'm like, if he moves that log, that's where the pearl is.
Yeah. No, it's true. That is true.
Much easier to get into the pearl than the swan.
Which I also have to say about the plane, that this is the first reference to one of my favorite characters in all also.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting bringing in the Mr. Echo connection so soon.
Yeah. Love Mr. Echo.
I love him so much. It's one of the great one season characters, and I know he's technically survives for like 6 seasons and or 6 episodes in season 3, but so good in season 2. Like if he had died in the hatch, like what a perfect character.
Yeah.
Even though I think his final episode is another, like that's a top 10 episode of Lost, I think.
Yeah. I just love his storyline, and just the fact that he got there, and just everything that happens with him is so great in this show.
I would also say
I didn't even think about that. He is a 1 season character. That's a pretty strong arc for just a 1 season character, actually. He has a pretty strong arc.
Yeah, like if we were handing out points for like gold medals or gold stars or whatever for who did a really good job this episode, every single episode that Mr. Echo shows up in, I'd be like, all my gold stars, every single one of them. Because he doesn't have a bad episode.
Yeah, he's easily top 2 or 3 for me. He really is. Like I said, Hurley's always been my favorite, but he's right up there, man. He's always been right up there for me.
He definitely I don't know if he tops it cracks into my top 3 because like there's so many great characters like between Saeed, Ben, Juliet. I even love Richard Alpert a lot, but he's definitely top 10 easy, top 5, top 3. You know, there's a debate if he makes that 5th slot.
Oh, look, this is one of the hardest shows to do a top 5 or top 10 for
Yeah,
favorite character. This is easily one of the hardest shows to do that for.
easily.
I could do a top 20 easily.
Hey, you know what? And next week, the show is going to make it a little bit easier for us to talk about our favorite characters because Boone gets up into the Beechcraft and he comes down real fast.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
And I remember thinking, oh, Boone's dead now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I definitely thought he was dead right away. Yeah. I just remember, I just before that, though, when he finds the heroin, all I could think was, oh, fuck, Charlie.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, damn it.
This is, we'll get in. I love Charlie, and I love Dominic Monaghan's performances, and I love everything they do with him in season 1.
Yeah.
The worst thing Lost ever does is the character assassination that happens in
Relapse. Yeah.
the whole relapse, and Charlie's like, I'm gonna drown the baby, it needs to be baptized. What a terrible decision. Not just, yeah, I'll say it.
Yeah.
Terrible decisions all around. Me and Ben used to talk about, we'd talk about Lost all the time, and it would not take long before one of us talked about Charlie, and then one of us would immediately be like, but season 2 Charlie. We're not talking about season 2 Charlie, are we? Like, no. No, obviously not season 2 Charlie.
Yeah, I don't like that storyline for him, but again, just overall, he's such a great character. So, but yeah, that is a bad storyline. I agree.
Good on Boone though for immediately recognizing that it's heroin.
Yeah,
because every time
he probably saw a few that were broken.
Yeah, but like every time I see it, I'm just like, oh, that's brown sugar, and that just like shows maybe like how much how sheltered I am. But I'm just like, is that what heroin looks like?
I mean, I've never seen it in person, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I heard it's called Brown Boy or something.
Yeah, my I took a couple for my job. I have to take some addictions courses and stuff.
Okay.
So I've had to deal with a little bit of heroin in my life. Okay. I've had to study heroin analytically.
I mean, come on.
But I would say a majority of my understanding of heroin comes from Lost.
Oh, right. Yeah, of course.
Which I tried to cite in a paper once, and my teacher told me, if you ever do this again, you will fail my class.
Awesome.
But anyway, I also love that this will start. Boone will start it, and then Saeed will do it a couple episodes from now, and then Mr. Echo will do it later. Every time someone sees a Virgin Mary statue, their initial impulse is, and I threw it on the ground. Just like, you can't just say, oh, there's heroin in these things. You have to smash it and show it to everyone.
Right. Absolutely.
I really love that.
Yeah. Like I said, as soon as I saw the heroin, I'm just like, oh, fuck, Charlie. Come on. Like, don't do this. Don't do this.
I felt so bad for this. And they talk about this in Lost on Location, so one of the behind-the-scenes videos that they shot for like the DVD commentary and stuff.
Okay.
Damon Lindelof talks about how they're planning for season 2, introducing a few more modern things back into the world to see how our survivors will react. And this is the first example of something from the modern world that could drastically impact our survivors. We think it's going to be a really interesting thing to play with going forward, and I'm excited to see how Charlie and other characters respond to the heroin.
I don't know who else would respond to it. I mean,
Echo responds to the heroin.
Well, sure, but we don't know Echo yet at this point.
That's true.
So,
but at this point,
yeah.
But I then this may be showing my hand a little bit. This is then from a season 3 behind the scenes TV interview he did, sorry, when during season 3, where he says reintroducing heroin is the thing I liked least about season 1 of Lost. I don't know why we did it. We could have done literally anything else.
It's true. It's absolutely true.
That's straight from the horse's mouth. That's Damon Lindelof saying that.
Yeah, I mean, really, the only good thing that comes out of it is when, like you said, what's her name gets shot?
Libby.
Libby, yeah, Libby. So that's really the only good that comes out of it. Other than that,
Yeah. Another thing before the plane, the Beechcraft falls down. What did you think about Boone talking to somebody on the radio?
yeah, I don't because I'm like, oh, they're gonna get saved. Oh no, they're not. Damn it! Like, those moments I love because those are the ones that snap you back into. Oh yeah, this is a show where they're stuck on an island. Because
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you know that, but you're so interested in what's going on. Like, what is the island? Why are they? That kind of stuff that you forget for a second. And you're like, oh yeah, they are still trying to survive on this island and get off of it at some point. But
Yeah. It's really interesting listening to that scene where Boone's talking about it's like, we're the survivors of Oceanic 815. And then the radio responds back, which obviously they haven't cast Sam Anderson yet, so it's not Bernard on the other end. It's Ian Somerhalder doing the lines back, saying,
okay.
"Oh no, we're the survivors of Oceanic 815," which led a lot of people to believe that there would be time travel shenanigans in the show, which would lead to these diverging timelines where now they were somehow talking to each other.
Okay.
Because you can very clearly tell it's Boone talking to Boone. It doesn't say it in the closed captions, but if you listen, you're like, oh, that's Boone talking on the radio.
Yeah, see, I couldn't make out the voice. Yeah, I definitely didn't make out the voice. So yeah, okay.
That's something I clock
it's so quick,
every
though,
time.
That's why. Okay.
Yeah.
See, it happened so quick, I didn't catch it. Gotcha.
But when he's like, what are you talking about? We're the survivors of Oceanic 815. And there's that look on Boone's face. That was the moment where people were like, oh, there's going to be time travel. And then as we got farther and farther away from this scene, they were like, no, Ian Somerhalder was just available. That's why he did the voice. And then they do time travel, just as we all forget about it.
Well, yeah. Still my favorite season.
Yeah, season 4 is so good. Or season 5 is so good.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I remember watching that, and I was in disbelief when I heard, "No, we're the survivors of Oceanic 815."
Oh yeah, I was like, "What the heck is going on here?" Yeah.
The first time, I didn't catch that it was Boone. The second and third and fifth and seventh time, obviously, I've caught it. But the first time, I was like, "Oh my god, there's other survivors." And then I kind of do the thing we'll see Ana Lucia do next season, where I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, that's Ethan's people."
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I would have. I don't know if I would have thought that right away, though. Obviously, because we still don't know. Other than that, Ethan, we don't really know where they are, really. So yeah. But yeah, it definitely could have been that.
Yeah, but we are only one episode off of, or sorry, 2 episodes removed from John Locke screaming at the Gawkers and us, "We're not the only people on this island, and we all know it."
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
And then John Locke continues to make some terrible decisions.
Yeah,
Where
he does.
Where after the plane, the Beechcraft falls out of the tree and crushes Boone in several places, and Boone's now bloody, talking about Teresa falling up and down the stairs. Mm-hmm. John Locke, who can only limp, will run to the caves.
Dude, yeah. How does this? That's the one thing where I'm just like, wait a minute, you couldn't even stand up 2 minutes ago. Literally 2 minutes ago. You couldn't stand up. Now you're walking around running.
I've always thought Locke needs a goal. When he has a goal, there's nothing that he can not overcome.
Okay.
Even not the ability to walk. And at this point, his faith has been renewed, or whatever it is. So the island is giving him his legs back.
Okay. Okay.
But makes some terrible decisions where
Oh yeah.
he's gonna yell for Jack. And he's gonna dump bloody Boone off in the caves and then run to the hatch. And it's like, where's Locke? He's gone already. Which I love this way the scene plays in real time, where it's intercut with Locke dropping Boone off and then the music swelling and it's the drive to Anthony Cooper's house and he's screaming at the camera, no, you didn't do this to me. No, you didn't do this to me. Leading to what you already alluded to earlier. An amazing acting performance by Terry O'Quinn where he's pounding on the hatch. And he's like, why did you do this to me? And then the light turns on.
Yeah, man, that light, when it comes on, at this point, when I first watched it, I remember thinking, he's definitely some type of Jesus. He's definitely some type of, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it just feels that way. Like, after everything that happens in this episode, and then that light comes on, it's just like, oh no, this is the sign that he's been waiting for. I don't know what it is. I really don't know what it is, but this is what he's been waiting for. And I such a great scene, man. He is amazing.
I think John Locke Terry O'Quinn, I think, is at his best acting when he's scream acting. There's a lot of great cry actors on this show who are really good actors while they cry. You know, I think about Evangeline Lilly, Emily DeRavin, Yunjin Kim, all great cry actors. But John Locke, Terry O'Quinn, the pain in his voice while he's pounding on it. You're just like, and it's again intercut with like the flashback where he's still in the hospital gown. And he's got the red all over him because he's not bad on St. Vincent's. I looked it up, by the way. It is St. Vincent's Hospital, which weird. They named the hospital after the dog. Bad on them that they allowed this man who just had surgery to just leave.
Yeah. Well, they did say he has private care. So, I mean, but still, not as soon as you come out of surgery.
Well, Anthony Cooper had private care. John Locke did not.
Oh, yeah, no. Well, yeah. Oh, that's right. He does just kind of leave. Yeah, he just leaves. He walked out. I think he just walked out. I don't even check that.
When he drives up to Anthony Cooper's house, he's still wearing the gown. Like, and again, like you can see the blood where his kidney's coming out. And I always love him whenever John Locke has to drive around in that bug because he's so big and it's such a little car.
It is. It's so funny. I agree with that, man, for sure.
We'll get that a few more times, but it's such a beautiful scene, seeing this whole extended sequence.
Yeah.
But the fact that he drops Boone off and it's like he fell off a cliff. It's like, I was gonna set up next week.
They pan back and he's gone. I'm just like, wait, where the hell did he go that fast? First of all, you can't walk. Where the hell did you go that fast?
Is John Locke the smoke monster? Can he travel really fast?
Dude, I'm telling you, I've had that theory. I know I had that theory too at this point that he is the smoke monster because it was a few episodes or a bunch of episodes now ago, but I was like, I think he's the smoke monster for some. I just felt like he was it for some reason.
First of all, if you called it this early, good on you, because we haven't even seen that it's a smoke monster yet.
Oh well, not the smoke, but that it's him, like that.
Yeah,
yeah. No, I didn't know that it was that. No.
I was like, what a flex, what a call to say. I think it's a smoke monster.
No, I definitely didn't think that at that point. But I'm just like, it just feels weird because when I think it's when he says, "I've looked into the eye of the island." That's when I thought that there was some sort of like, maybe not that he would, but it's using him somehow. I guess is probably what I would have thought. You know, something like that.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. So he's like a conduit for the island. Yeah.
Right. I definitely didn't call that it was a smoke monster that could turn into people.
It's like, what a call.
Call that. No.
I was on the Hurley train of it's a pissed off giraffe.
That's funny. That is a funny one too.
Yeah, that's what I've got for the main beats on the island.
Yeah, again, it's just I love Locke so much in the flashbacks. Man, he makes me hate him so much on the island.
Yeah,
And
he's
it's not even
so
hate. It's not even hate. It's just frustration. It's just like, dude, just stop. Just stop doing what you're doing. Just talk to Jack. Talk to Saeed. Talk to somebody.
so
Like anybody.
generally in fiction like this, I have a thing I say to the main character, which is go to therapy one time. And it's like, that'll solve all your problems. I can't say that to Locke because we're going to see he does go to therapy. And if anything,
Oh yeah,
it
well
makes
that's
it
true.
worse.
Yeah. No. There's so many times though in movies and shows where I'm just like, can you two just have a conversation and we can avoid all of this?
Oh my
Stupid
God.
crap? Can you two just talk?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. It's he. I think being angry, I don't think is the right thing. I think I'm frustrated with him, but I also pity him so much. Ironically, I think that's the last thing Locke wants is to be pitied, but
Oh
that's
yeah, no,
exactly what I feel for him.
yeah, no, exactly. Because he is a tragic character, but at this point in his life, he's just so he's been alone for so long. Like you said, it was 4 years he was in the chair,
Yeah, he's in the chair for 4 years.
and 2 years after Helen left him, right?
I don't have those numbers in front of me. I think it was a couple years after
Okay,
Helen left.
yeah. So yeah, man. Like he is just a grumpy old that just at this point feels so alone that he's like nobody can ever help me again. I have to do everything myself.
And
It's such a sorry place to be in life, or like you said, it's pity.
it's pity. Which, speaking of John Locke and just like all the stuff he's been through, on the trek to the Beechcraft, after Locke's convinced Boone, it's like, it's time to go. It's time to go to the Beechcraft. We are going. It's going to be great. Boone asks, is like, man, what's your story? And Locke's response to this is, it would bore you. To which I say, would it?
Yeah, no.
Would it really?
Just this one story we know about him at this point. It's not a boring.
Straight up, from the time you could give me a story, John, from the time that a mortal vampire man came to you as a child, laid a bunch of toys in front of you, and said, which one's yours? And you picked the wrong one. And he said, fuck you, kid. You could do all the way up to, there was this time that my mom found a dog that she thought was the reincarnated version of my sister, to there was this time that I got involved with gangsters. There was this time that I worked at a pop farm with Goku.
It's so much.
There was this time that the guy from Suits came, and then he died, and then my dad threw me out a window. Like, he's got, like, I'm like, Locke, your story is anything but boring. I think Boone would be fascinated.
Yeah. Yeah, especially considering you tell everybody you work at a box company. You start telling these stories.
That is my favorite thing about John Locke. Whenever someone asks him what he does, he's like, we're at a box company. Everyone looks at him and he's like, they make boxes. It's like, yeah, of course they do. Or when we eventually meet Desmond and he starts calling Locke Boxman. I love that so much.
Oh, does he really?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, there's
Okay.
he's like, it's the scene where it's either Locke or Kate is going to get locked up in the pantry, and it's originally he's going to tie up Locke and keep Kate as a hostage, and Locke's like, oh no, I just work at a box company. She's a fugitive.
Oh wow, that's great.
And Desmond goes, all right, Boxman, tie her up.
That's great.
And then when he comes back at the end of the season, Locke's like, hello, Desmond. And Desmond's like, oh, Boxman, you're still pushing that button.
I love Desmond.
I love
Can't wait.
Desmond so much.
Yeah, can't wait.
A favorite of Head Geek Ben.
Might be
You
the.
know.
I think that's the best introduction to a character in this show.
Yeah, and you know what? He was only supposed to be there for 3 episodes.
It's just such a great introduction to him.
So great. But we're still like 5.
Anyway.
We're like
Yeah,
5.
no.
Well, you know what? Actually, we can talk about Desmond because he showed technically in this episode. He turned on the lights.
Really? Oh well, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Really fantastic stuff in that episode with Locke saying that. A great after all that sadness. By the way, I saved one of my favorite lines in the whole episode for near the back end. It's a Hurley quote. I think it's the only line he has. Do you remember what it is?
No, I don't off the top of my head now.
It's when Sawyer gets his glasses and Hurley walks by and he says, "You look like a steamrolled Harry Potter."
Yes.
And I'm just like, that's so much fun. Sawyer,
Kate
Hurley,
laughs too. That's the best. Is Kate laughs at it.
yeah, and then Sawyer does that thing that we all did when we first got glasses, and someone made fun of us, where we go, "Yeah, I don't want to wear my glasses anymore."
That's so funny. That's so funny. That is a good joke, though.
Fantastic. Hurley has some great zingers. At some point, Sawyer's gonna call Hurley fat, and Hurley's gonna respond, "Shut up, redneck man."
Yes. and Sawyer's reaction to that is another great
touche.
Dude, his face and the way he says, "Oh man, I know because I know exactly what you're talking about. I love that scene. Yeah. Hurley is not good at insults, but he does have some great ones when he's not trying. That's when he's the best, is when he's not trying. Love Hurley. God, I love Hurley so much.
So yeah, that's other than the fact that
that's a touch on.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Other than the fact that Anthony Cooper's license plate is the same as John Connor's license plate in Terminator 3, that's all I've got.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a cool Easter egg. Easter egg.
Actually, a cool thing about this episode, this is the first co-byline by Damon Lindelof and Carlton Cuse. So the people, showrunner from the beginning, and Carlton brought in recently, obviously, to really punch up some stuff, and a mentor to Damon. You'll start to see a trend where when it's a big episode, not necessarily always a finale, but when it's like a big mythology episode or a big character revelation episode, Damon and Carlton will step in and be like, "We're writing this one." And this was the first one that they did together.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, overall though, I think I'm with you, man. This is a great episode. Even though there is a lot of down things in this episode, I think overall it's a super strong episode, man. It really is.
Super strong.
Because it hits you in so many different ways.
Yeah, you feel sadness for Locke. You feel disgust at Anthony Cooper. You feel anger at Locke. You feel you get some great wins with Jack dunking on Sawyer.
Yeah. And seeing Sawyer with those silly glasses on for a minute is so great.
I love that they're 2 different prescriptions.
Yes. Yes.
Because it's like, they don't have the technology to make glasses.
Yeah, right, exactly. Now I love the ones that are like old librarian glasses, like the one size librarian style. It's just funny.
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah, I like
to think that all of those options he had in there, Jack found those specifically that matched. I like to think that was also Jack.
I like to think it was a Saeed thing, where he's like,
Or
he
Saeed, or Saeed.
he was kind of
We
a
could
dick
go
to me
with
last.
these. They're the same. We could go with these. They're the same. But I think I want to go with those instead.
Yeah. He'll never know if I take the left one from here and the right one from here and I put them together. Sawyer will be like, thank you, Saeed, forever.
Yeah, so great.
And you know what? Luckily, next week, super upbeat. Nothing bad's going to happen next week. Super entertaining, just fun time Hurley. We're back to silly Charlie trying to fish for Shannon, and it's a good time next week.
Oh, man.
Nothing bad's gonna happen.
Nope. No good vibes, sir. Only good vibes next week.
Yeah, nobody is gonna try to chop off anybody's leg.
How would that even work, sir? They have no axe.
They
They
have,
no axe.
because it's at the hatch.
Oh, that's funny though. That is great. Oh man. Yeah, we're getting into some good stuff now. Well, it's the end of the season. It's the wrap up time, man. This is when it's got to get super dramatic for the next season.
Yeah. Well, I think we are in. I think next week, another that's a banger all time episode. Lost does ER, Do No Harm, one of my favorites.
Okay.
And then Greater Good, Born to Run with the stupid fucking plane, whatever.
I love the plane episode. I can't wait for you to dunk on it. I don't like the episode itself, but I like that you hate it.
I hate it so much. It's not my least favorite episode, obviously. Okay. That's whatever the case may be. I hate this episode more than anything, though.
It's so funny.
In season 1, obviously. And I think we talked about this back during the Boone and Shannon incest episode. Even the
wow.
It's crazy to think that this episode is so great when we've had so much great before it. And even when we're going to have some subpar stuff coming up, not next week. Next week's great, but in a couple weeks from now, we're going to have some subpar stuff come up, but it's only subpar compared to the stuff it's around.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, and Ben always said it too, man, is that this is really one of the hardest shows, not to find a bad episode, but to really find, where you're just not into the show at all for a couple, 3 or 4 episodes straight or so. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think there's good in every episode that you can get out of even the bad, not just, greater episodes. So.
Yeah, there's always at least something that happens. And, I see Saeed, I'm happy.
That's fair. That's fair too. Absolutely.
Oh my God. Next week's the sex tent. So much bad things are going to happen at the sex tent.
Wow. I forgot about that completely until you just said it too.
Wait, when did Saeed have time to... Okay, we have to wrap up, obviously. When did Saeed have time to make the sex tent? He was making glasses.
I have no idea, but he was not playing.
That man. He's busy.
Hey, look, he's got needs. He's on an island. He's got needs. He just did a good deed for Sawyer. He's earned it. The man's earned it.
Hopes. Not.
Oh, it's so funny.
I'm so excited. Oh, God.
All right, guys, I think that's going to be it for us tonight. Again, thank you guys for watching, and thank you for joining us. Let us know down in the comments and what you guys thought about this episode. But Dave, tell everybody where they can find you, man.
You can find me every week on Tuesdays talking the latest and greatest in television on Have You Seen This on the Northern Entertainment Group, part of the Beneverse contingent of channels. Always excited to talk there. We're doing Last of Us coverage, Survivor's coming up, The Mandalorian's coming back. Every once in a while, I get to talk about the Bad Batch, which how good was the Bad Batch this week?
Oh man, if you ever want to come on our Jedi Academy, man, let me know.
If I've got the time and you've got the space, I could talk about Star Wars all day long.
Always.
I'm making
man,
my wife
absolutely.
while we're doing while we're watching Bad Batch. I'm making my wife watch Clone Wars for the first time.
Oh, nice.
We just got through the Mortis arc, and she, like everyone, the first time they see the Mortis arc, was like, "I don't get it. The Force is a
Exactly.
guy. Why is the Force a guy?"
Who are those two?
And I'm like, "Why was the sun a bat?" And I'm like, "Just it's a
Yeah.
metaphor. God."
Yeah.
Anyway,
I
no,
actually
we can
love that
talk about that.
storyline, but yeah,
I love Mortis now,
for sure.
but that's a story for a
Yeah.
different day. But every you can find me over on Northern Entertainment Group, and we have other shows there all the time. Rankings, talking about Doctor Who. We just started a new series, Fun with Flags. Don't know what that's about. I haven't watched it yet, but I know a lot of people are enjoying it.
Yeah, I didn't watch it yet, but I like the premise of the show for sure.
Me too.
Yeah. So I definitely want to check it out.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's everything. All right. That's about short.
Well, personally, I'm a bad follow on Twitter. So, if you want to find me on at Leaves Me Alone on Twitter, go ahead. If you want to follow me on Instagram at Baby James Lees, go ahead. But those are bad follows because I don't post that much anymore.
Nice. Yeah, I'm not big. I can't get into it. I don't know why. I just can't get into Twitter.
Yeah.
But you guys can find me on Twitter at Jedi Master Talk. I am there sometimes. You can also find me here on the Benverse or in the Multiverse of Geekdom Facebook page, or right here on the channel, Multiverse of Geekdom. I am here every day doing shows, so please look for me. But yeah, guys, please like and subscribe to the channel. Like I said, we are on our journey to 1,000 subscribers, so please do that for us. And for Dave and everybody else, we are out of here, guys. We will see you next time.
Bye.